Ah, yes, things are looking up. Welcome to the long and short, everybody. It's your boy Maestro. Thanks for tuning in. Lots to cover today. We're going to tell you guys how we made around $2,000 in profit in about 6 days using a process called super scalping. I'm not sure if anyone else has coined this term, but if not, it's mine. Also, we're going to talk about this bullish movement in the market, all right? Because in some ways, I'm starting to think this may be a fake out. We really want to watch these larger speculators and what they're doing over the next few days. We called this maybe a week ago, right? A couple of weeks ago. We said we're seeing some bullish movement. Go back to the past few videos. You can see it there. I think we did call the larger speculators starting to push the market higher. But will this be a fake out just to get people going long because they understand how Bitcoin may be affected and they are going to start pulling some money out of the market maybe a little later on after these Fed rates start to become a little bit more aggressive. All right, so we got to pay attention to that. Also, we did drop our full suite of tutorials on all of the methods that we pretty much use on this channel to break things down long term. We're showing you guys how to build a watch list. We're showing you guys how to pick coins. We're showing you guys how to find and do some research. We're showing you guys how to build a portfolio sort of from start to finish, set up some levels, set up some limit orders, right? So you can automate your system. All of those tutorials have dropped. We're getting ready to drop the full tutorial video, which is around 3 hours long, almost 4 hours, right? So if you just want to learn, kind of lock that in. This is what we do on this channel. This is why we're successful in the market. All right, so lots to talk about today. And if you don't know who I am, it's your boy Maestro. Welcome to the long and short. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and break this down. So what this looks like is maybe a bit confusing to some folks, but essentially what you're looking at to the left-hand side is an order book. What you're looking at to the right-hand side is the actual chart, all right, on the 15-minute. And this is where we're going to play the super scalp positions, okay? But before we do that, right, we're going to break out a couple of different things. We're going to sort of separate these two windows, show you what we saw in the charts first, and how we essentially increased our position to around $2,000 and how we use the order book to do it. But in order for us to do this effectively and not strain everyone's eyes, we're going to have to use one screen to the next, okay? So the first thing that we want to pull up here is going to be the chart. All right, now, just to show you guys proof on this, we're going to go into our paper trading account. Let's go ahead and connect it, all right? And basically you'll see, you know, if you go to the last video that we did on the trading challenge, we were up around 25,400, right? We started with 25,000, we're up 25,400, and then we lost it all, right? And so I had to make an adjustment because if you make a gain in the market and then you lose it all right, very quickly, you have to stop and readjust whatever you're doing in the market at that point in time, right? So say, for example, you're using trend line trading, all right? And you know, you're on a very tight time frame, and every time price touches this trend line, you're buying or selling off of that trend line. If that doesn't work for you multiple times, right, and you sit in trades and you lose money, then eventually you'll wipe out whatever gains that you've made using that same exact strategy, all right? And this is the thing that the market likes to do. It may move a certain way for a certain period of time and then sort of flip its character. And it's your job as a trader to adjust to that character of the market, because you can't make the market do what you want it to do, right? Unless you have trillions of dollars. Otherwise, you are essentially riding the waves of what the market's going to do. Now, in very choppy markets like this, guys, it's very hard for you to pick a direction and stay in that direction, right? So what we did was we started to do something called super scalping. Now, super scalping is exactly what it sounds like. You're scalping the market, but you're doing it in such an aggressive way that it's almost like I'm in for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm out. I'm in for maybe 30 seconds, I'm out. And the reason why I would take a long or short position has really nothing to do with what I'm seeing on the entire chart, even though I understand what price may be doing and what it's reaching for, and that's where I'm going to gain my bias from per trade. I can go either way. So the market's going to fluctuate, especially on a 15-minute chart, right? Now, this looks crazy, but this is the in and out positions, okay? All of them that I was taking on these 15-minute charts. And you can see, you know, this is essentially nonstop, guys, almost, you know, 6 days worth of trading action here, all right? Now, you can see the times where I was away from the market, right? So I was sleeping here at this time, and at this time I was busy or whatever, right? But you see the pattern, right? We sort of started it here, took a little time off, adjusted the strategy, and then we really started going in with a lot of trades, okay? And as we started finding success, we just utilized this system for what it was, all right? Now, you're not gonna find tutorials on this on YouTube or anywhere else. This is something exclusive that I was doing just based off of how I saw the market moving. This is the adjustment I made, right? It's like in a football game where you have to call an audible, right? Or in the middle of a boxing match where if the guy keeps catching your jab, maybe you feint the jab, throw the right hook. You got to adjust to the market. And this is how we adjusted. All right. So even today, we took a few trades, right? And if you look at our trading account, we're currently sitting right now at 27,278. All right. So this is and like I said, if I go to the bottom of this, right, and if I scroll down this, you guys can see this is just a continuous list of positions. So one thing that I did sacrifice was the winning percentage, but that doesn't really matter if you're taking home $2,000 in a week, right? Would you rather be at a 90% win percentage or be at a 70% win percentage, 50% win percentage, and make $2,000 in a week, right? That's the variable of trading. You can lose a lot, but when you win, if you win big and you lose little, though that one win will wipe out all of those losses that you took. All right, so starting from the bottom of our trading account, you can see we started off with about 90% win percentage, right? We got the account up to 25.4 for a while, and then we just started losing everything, right? So we took 4 losses in a row for pretty substantial amounts. The first was for $21, then $50, then $71, then $148, right? So at this point, we've lost pretty much all of the gains that we've made, okay? At least half of them. So going up here, a couple of good wins, more losses, right? Then we have a good win, another loss, and eventually we got back down to $25,000. And I think we actually dropped below it, right? We were struggling for a while, right? Fighting against the market, and then took one big loss for 196, and that put us below 24,000, all right? So at that point, ask yourself what you would do as a trader. You've made almost $500 in the market, trying to be strategic. You're using the same strategy, and now you've lost everything, okay? What would you do as a trader? You always have to come back to your starting point and understand where your emotions were, how you were losing, why you were becoming more aggressive after you lost, and sort of reset yourself. You got to ask yourself what you're missing, right? One thing that always needs to happen after every trade is, what is your lesson that you learned? So what I learned after losing everything that I made was that I need to actually up what I'm doing here as far as the amount of leverage that I'm taking. Now, normally people would say to reduce it, right? But in this case, I knew what I was doing as far as strategy wasn't wrong. I was just being too aggressive, and I wasn't watching the other variables that I know to watch in the market as I was doing these trades, right? I remember in the last trading video, I said we're going to get a little bit experimental, and we did. And those experiments didn't necessarily pan out the way that we wanted to. We were getting a bit more aggressive, but by us being more aggressive, we had to change the strategy from being strategic on our entry to aggressive on our entry. When you get aggressive, you have to watch different things, not just the price action on a chart and where the imbalances in liquidity are, because price can easily break through these levels and keep running on you. And if all you want to do is watch a reverse from that level, that's where you're going to catch the bigger losses, okay? And sit in those trades and like sweat it out, hoping that the market comes back in your favor. So once we got down to this point, you'll see, we never really came back down to 24,000. I think the lowest that we got our account to was 24,932, all right? Which is off of that big loss. We adjusted the strategy. This is 320. Today is the 23rd, actually. So this is actually 3 or 4 days of trading. I said 6 days, but I may be wrong about that. Now, this is what I want you guys to notice, okay? Notice the tide changing here, okay? We're going from really big losses to substantial wins. Now, we're still catching little losing streaks, but you'll notice these losing streaks are not big, right? Big trade, 324, right? Then we lose a little bit. don't make much, right? And you'll see why these numbers come up the way that they do in a second, right? But you can see if I lose, I'm not losing very much. If I win, I'm taking home gains, right? $144 trade, $153 trade, $139 trade, $166, $139.50. Okay. If I lose, I'm losing $19.35. All right. And eventually I got a little lazy here. So some of the losses started backing up a little bit. Right. But you guys see the difference. Right off of 6 losses in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses in a row. You pop a $133 trade. Okay. Bounce right back. 27, 630, 43. Right. You can see the progression here. Now, I'm not saying that what we were doing was perfect. There's holes in every system. But the way that we were watching this market was not only through the price action, it was also through the order book. The order book was giving us the directional play and letting us know when the market was actually starting to reverse. So the things that we can't see on a price chart, the order book starts to give you insight to these things, right? So we had a little loss streak going here, right? But you guys can see this is essentially how we grew this account, right? Right from the bat. Now, as we were going through this process, we started to get better at what we were doing. So eventually the losses started getting really small, right? $10, $14. Then you win 63, win 25, right? And this is the way that this method works. You may lose a little bit and you're going to sacrifice that, right? And you should say that to yourself going into the trade. I'm willing to sacrifice $20. I'm willing to sacrifice $40 for this move. Based on what I see in the order book, based on where the price is currently, that's what I'm willing to sacrifice. If price moves against me and takes that $20, I'm going to reset my position, right? Most traders, if they get taken out, stop loss or whatever, they're going to sit out and watch the market move. And then when it starts to move in that direction, then they'll get aggressive again. And then the market reverses on them, right? It's a mental thing. But in this strategy, if I get stopped out, I'm going right back in. And I'm sacrificing another 20. And another 40. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when it moves, it's going to move $100 worth of a position. These smaller takes is price moving in my favor, coming back to catch my stop loss. And I don't mind taking those either, because if price is going to continue that movement, I'm getting right back in. All right. Now, you do have to develop a bit of skill on where to place these stops so that you can avoid some of this up and down movement on these candles, especially the 15-minute candles. But there's a method to that as well, right? If you just use institutional numbers, the price will typically start to retrace back from those numbers, right? But this is how we built this up, guys, right? And you can see it's just a long list of entries, exits, right? Wins, losses. But through this method, we've increased this account to 27,278, okay, and 27 cents. All right, so let's talk about the method. Let's talk about what we were looking at on the chart, all right? And we're using a 15-minute chart for this, okay? Now, we're still drawing out our levels of imbalance, right? Which are some of these red lines here that you're seeing. And you see that price does come to these areas, okay? So if we were to look at a couple of areas of imbalance on current price action, let's see if we can find some. Not very many here. Let's see. Price kind of created this one, came right back down through that last night, and then took off. Okay, so what it looks like we're doing right now is creating a lot more bullish momentum in the market. All right, so your imbalances are not typically going to be found anywhere on the upswing, all right? Because we want the market to retrace back into those imbalances. That's actually really positive price action movement. When you see the price come up and go down, right, and it retraces into that imbalance, that's what you want to see, right? So if we were to set this line here, price goes up, comes back down into it, that's what we want to see. All right, let's blow this up just a little bit. Not sure if you guys can see it all. All right, so just this little microcosm price action right here, right? Let's swing this all the way to the right. This candle action right here, you have a big imbalance right there. If we move over a little bit, you see price comes right back into it. These are the types of moves that you want to see in bullish markets, all right? Imbalance created, price comes right back down to fill it, almost to the T. You see that, guys? When this type of stuff is happening on bullish upswings, you can have confidence that we're probably going to keep continuing that upswing. Now, I don't see very many imbalances here in price, right? But price has to eventually retrace to a point. So what could I use to get an idea of where price may retrace to? I'm just looking at these equal lows right here, right? Sort of like a table that's set there. And I can even go ahead and pull out a Fibonacci, draw from the top to the bottom of the bodies of the candles. And you see how that golden pocket aligns right with those areas. So if price were to retrace and come back down, these are the areas where I'm looking to get long if in fact I'm trying to do more of a swing type of position. But what we're doing is scalping, right? So let's take this fib off and let's show you guys on the order book exactly what we were looking for. All right, so let's push this far right. Let's pull this one up. Okay, now this looks completely crazy to anyone who's never seen it before, but let's just get an idea of what we're looking at here. All right, now this is a website called Tensor Charts. Tensor Charts is a very good website to go to if in fact you want to get insight into what's happening with any particular crypto. The only thing that I'm really using on this site is the volume profile here, the money flow. Okay, so I'm watching whether or not money is coming into or out of the market. I'm on the 15-minute chart. Okay, and notice I have parity with what I'm watching on a price chart or where I'm placing my orders versus where I'm actually looking at the order book, right? Parity in regards to the minutes that I'm using, right? The time frame. Now, what I'm using is Binance. The reason why I'm using Binance for this chart is because Binance is probably the largest, most liquid broker out there, right? Exchange out there. And so if Binance moves a price, other markets, well, the other exchanges, they're going to move with it, if you get what I'm saying, right? So if you're trading on Bybit or Fimex, for example, smaller exchanges than Binance, if Binance moves, it's going to move them as well. So I use this order book as the authority to everything else in the market, all right? Wherever the market is most liquid, you use that as the authority, okay? So that's why we're using the Binance chart. Now, notice a couple of things here, and we're going to zoom this in a bit. Okay, roll this over a little bit. You're going to see lots of different colors on this screen. But the only thing that we're really looking at is the volume profile again and the stack up of the order book. And this is why I really like this website. I can start to see right now that at 43,000, okay, there's a wall that's set. Not a really big wall, but there's a wall there at 43, okay? That's essentially this area in price right here. So if I hover my cursor, that's the $43,000 level. You can see all of those orders starting to stack up here. Now, also, if I look to the right here, I can see that you have at the $42,000 level, right? You have a pretty decent wall set up there with about 177 orders or 177 Bitcoin worth of orders sitting at that level. All right. Now, if I look at the volume profile, I can see that if price were to bounce here, okay, you have a pretty good chance of price bouncing here and being rejected here. But we're not waiting for price to get there. Our objective is to see what price is reaching for within the current level that it's trading. So right now we're at 42,683. So I go to the 42.6 level. Right now it's serving up on the bullish side, which is why you're seeing positive price action. If this 42.6 level here were to flip and go to the top side, then that means that they're serving it bearish, right? So just think about, am I serving up the market on my right hand or my left hand? Is it bullish or bearish, okay? Whatever the current price level is, it's going to serve up on that level, right? So we just broke down to 42,638. Let's see if the bulls are able to maintain this level. Because if they're not, then the next level down will be 42.5 and price will start to eat into that level, okay? So notice this. You see this creeping down a little bit. It might be kind of hard to see because of YouTube. So we'll zoom in on this a little bit to make sure that you guys can get an accurate view of it. But ultimately, right, what you're looking at is this price action right here. You see how 42.6 is starting to get eaten away? Look at the price action. You're dropping. So when you notice this, and if you're able to pull enough information from the price action on the chart, use the order book, understand what's happening right here in just this little area according to the volume profile and the money flow of the market, you can make a trade. You can make a scalp, and you can jump in and out of this market very quickly, very effectively, because if the bulls start to take back this level, I'm out, right? If price moves in my direction a certain way, okay, I'm going to be making money as it's moving that way. But price is dynamic. It's going to bounce back, right? All it's going to take is for a bunch of bulls to come in and start buying Bitcoin at this level, right? Price will start going back up. So you want to be able to get out of the way from some of these moves back up. You don't want to just sit in the trade and let it fluctuate on you. If you're able to take profit, take the profit, which is why we're able to say we made the $2,000 in a few days, because we were taking profit. We didn't allow the market to come back on us after a major move. If I had over $100 in a trade profit, I'm setting my stop loss right there. Okay. Let's see if you can continue to run. If not, I'm taking my $100 home. And this is how we effectively just cut through this market, right? To make those gains, right? So we're watching really three different things: the money flow, these areas here on the order book that are lighting up, okay? The volume profile, and we're looking at the actual stacking of the order book. Who has the power, okay? Now it seems that, you know, based on where we are right now, the bears may be starting to take a bit of power at this level. We had a pretty nice run up, okay? And I'm anticipating that you're still gonna wanna run this high, or at least touch or create an equal high before you come back down, all right? Always remember, midweek reversal is something that is very, very, very common in the crypto market, right? Which we actually may be seeing today because things have been down a little bit for the week. All right, but no matter which way the market is rolling, we can take advantage of it through this process, okay? So two things: price chart, order book. We're using that for in and out, very, very, very fast trades, okay? We're gonna do some recording of this actual process and show you guys some of this, you know, going into future videos. But for the most part, you know, this is the way that we were able to achieve this. Now, let's talk about whether or not we think Bitcoin is actually still going to keep running, because this movement, I like it, but I'm not convinced that that's the way that price will continue to run. Now, let me show you guys why we were able to call out a couple of weeks ago that this bullish movement was starting to happen, okay? Now, I don't think they give you timelines on this, but you could say that this time period right here, sort of where I'm putting my cursor, is approximately 2 weeks ago. Now, what we saw 2 weeks ago was that the largest speculators were pushing over that zero line, right? They sat over it and then they pushed higher. Now, this happened over the course of last week, and I was dropping the other tutorials. I was super busy last week with other stuff, and I wasn't able to get in front of you guys live. But this right here was what showed me that we're starting to think bullish, okay? Things are starting to pump a little bit. Whenever your largest speculators are going that long, they see something in the market. All right, and there's reasons why they're taking these positions. So they pushed up. Retail speculators got a little bearish, right, over the past couple of weeks, and then they went down. Didn't I tell you guys, whenever we get the most bearish, this is when they get the most bullish. It's just the yin and yang of the market. Now we're meeting right again at this point. All of the retail speculators, they're starting to get bullish again. This is what I mean by a setup, okay? If the larger speculators continue to push higher above the net zero line, bullish. If they swing back down a little bit, they may just try to keep us in the range, make people bored, make people become a little bit more bearish, and then push it. But in all reality, I'm watching this green line like a hawk. If this goes back down, then all this is, guys, is a fake out. If it pushes up, okay, it's happy days. And this is the way that we're going to judge the market moving forward here. We're watching this commitment of traders very closely, along with the elder rate, right? Looks like even your EMAs are starting to stack a bit, okay? So once your 9 EMA crosses over your 18 EMA and you start to get a separation here, it's called stacking. We want to see this separate and stack. We want to see the larger speculators continue to push net above the net zero. We want to see the bulls take firm control on the elder ray. Bull power versus bear power, right? Right now, the bulls have it. Today, we have it, which is why you're seeing all of this bullish movement, right? And it's been that way for the past few days. You see the bulls popped over this level. They didn't relinquish it. They didn't give it back to the bears. This is bullish, okay? Also, your money flow index shows that money is coming into the market, but your open interest is dropping off a little bit because it is the end of March, okay? Now we need to start taking a look at April. How much open interest is there in April? All right, lots and lots and lots to consider in this market, guys. All right, so let's go back to our charts. Let's talk about a few coins here. Let's take a look at the daily. So FOMC, right? Remember what I told you guys, swinging in the range until the FOMC. Next thing you know, pow, we're out of the gates. But is it really going to be us breaking out of the gates? I'm not sure, okay? I want to see us break levels of 45.5. We got to break above this scale out level before I can say that we're really turning bullish. Because once we do that, guys, right, now you're starting to go for higher levels of imbalance here at 50K. All right, so I think it can happen, but it really depends on how aggressive Jerome Powell gets with these Fed rate hikes. And it also depends on how the market reacts to that, right? Like, where are they gonna put their funds? If Bitcoin keeps running up, say, for example, they raise the rates to maybe 2.5%, right? 250 basis points. and people start putting their money into stores of value, right? If Bitcoin is, say, at around 50K to 60K at that point, that's going to traject you to the 100K levels of what we really want to see, 90, 80, 90, 100K levels of Bitcoin. Now, if you take a look at the order books, there's blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks of orders just waiting for it to hit 100K, 90K, right? So we have to be aware of that. As price continues to run up, you may get some really hard rejections on that ride. But if people are really putting their money into Bitcoin as a store of value because the price keeps going up, that could be your catalyst to push you there, right? Still has yet to remain to be seen, but that's what I'm thinking, all right? So people always want to say, the Fed rates don't matter. Oh, Jerome Powell's not going to do it. He did it, all right? And he's going to do it again, and he's going to do it a lot this year to try to control inflation. If you know this, understand that price may run before it falls because people need to adjust to how this is going to roll out. And if Bitcoin is really a store of value, as we like to think it is, this is the proving ground for it. All right, so right now, again, just playing our levels here, right? Let's get rid of this fib. You know, the tutorials cover how we break down each one of these levels for scale in and scale out. We give you the full process on how to get this done. Okay, so check the video for the card. Other than that, guys, you know, scale in, scale out, we're still within this range. You know, if you would have bought down here in your discount zone, you would have definitely pushed this up into a premium zone and probably a little bit higher, right? So ultimate areas to buy Bitcoin were somewhere around 34 to 32 and a little bit higher around 35. All right, price seems to be moving in the bullish direction at this point. But again, we want to be able to watch for fake outs. So right now we see Bitcoin making some pretty good movements, as is the rest of the crypto market, right? So if we take a look at Ethereum, again, seeing the same kind of things, right? Up and down movement within the scale in, scale out zone, premium to discount zone. So just following our methods of buying in a discount, selling at a premium, you know, you're making money. These are, again, 50, 60% gains, right? Like for not for Ethereum, but for like some of the smaller coins, they're really large gains. This right here for Ethereum is around 20%, right? So that's still a massive gain, guys. Like, who would say that within 20 or 30 days, if you're catching this at the bottom and you make 20% returns on your investment, you're beating hedge funds if you do that, all right? So that's discount to premium, shows up on ETH, but there are some coins that are starting to get a little bit shaken out, you know, and they're starting to really fall. And I'm starting to get a bit concerned about some of these things. So we're going to talk about some of these as well. Luna has been one that has been pumping nonstop, okay? I don't think Luna is being affected by the market at all. It maintains these levels. So remember what I said. Eventually, you're going to have to redraw levels for things like Luna if it keeps pumping up, okay? We've seen this thing go from number 10 on the market cap chart to number 7, okay? I think that's where it's sitting right now. I didn't check them today. But this has rocket fuel in it, okay? For some reason, Terra Luna has rocket fuel in it, and I think it's the fact of the interoperability aspect that they really want to bring in. All right, so lots of bullish movement, this positive price action. Right now at $95, I'm starting to think Luna is cheap, right? And it may be up to the $200, $300, $400 level by sometime near the end of this year, all right? Because I've seen cryptos run like this. You know, Aave was one of them where, you know, it was like $5, $6 one day. And then you look back 3 months later and it's like $300. These things can run this way, folks, especially at the lower denominations. All right, so Luna is one that we're watching very closely. Also, AVAX, very similar price action to what you're seeing for Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? All of your higher cap coins are either really pumping or they're swinging, right? In this range. Same thing. Since January, up, down, up, down, up, down. Liquidate, liquidate, liquidate. Nobody's right. Bulls aren't right. Bears aren't right. We're keeping the market in the middle. You can see this on a number of different coins, right? So AVAX, same thing. You're buying in a discount, selling at a premium. You're making 20%, 30% gains on that, all right? Atom, pretty much same thing, right? Now, even though Atom's not a top 10 coin, you know, Cosmos is something that's going to be around, guys. And we understand that about the crypto market, right? So the coins that are doing this right now, I'm not so concerned about. But there are some that are starting to show me a bit of a different character. All right, so the first one is Sandbox. Sandbox, you notice, does not have the same type of bouncy movement. It showed a little bit, but hasn't really pushed from the last time. So you sat in this valley a bit. I still think Sandbox is an excellent project. They're going to grow. they're going to be worth more, a lot more than $3.30, right? Long term. But right now, I'm a bit concerned. Downwards price action, guys. Do not let FUD and FOMO get you into position. Do not take what people say about the metaverse at face value for anything. In fact, don't take anyone's opinion on anything in the market for face value. It is all speculation. What I'm telling you today is speculation, with the exception of the facts of us showing you that we know how to trade and make $2,000 in a few days. Everything else is speculation, guys. So take what I say with a grain of salt, right? Never make any investment decisions based off of my advice or anyone else's advice. That's why it's important for you as a person, if you want to do this, to learn your way. That's the only way you can do it, all right? So looking at Sandbox, we're not listening to everything that people are telling us. This may actually see more depressed price action. It's been getting shut down for a little while, okay? Pretty much same thing with Chainlink, all right? What I want to see is up, down, up, down, up, down, like you're seeing with the higher cap coins, okay? If I'm seeing a lot of downwards action and things aren't really bouncing here, okay, which they seem to be at this point for Chainlink, because we understand if the crypto market bounces, and we said this in other videos, if the crypto market bounces, Chainlink is going to bounce. It's part of the market. It's integrated into everything for the most part. So why wouldn't it bounce? But just this little slow downward price action, not as concerned in regards to that as I would be for, you know, something like a Dogecoin, right? Something like Dogecoin showing this price action, which it does, okay? That's concerning. Something like Chainlink, not so much, right? Because we know Chainlink is an integral part of cryptocurrency itself. XRP showing a lot of strength, right? So we've been swinging in this discount zone, but notice what you're getting here. You're getting these pumps, right? So even though you're staying in the discount zone, you're getting aggressive movement, okay? I think all it's going to take is for them to close this lawsuit, and XRP is going to rock it, okay? When they let it back on these exchanges, this is what people have been waiting to buy. It's like the anticipation factor, right? Like, you know, Christmas morning, you know, the night before Christmas morning, if you're a kid, that's the worst night because you might be able to open one gift, but you see all these other gifts just sitting right there under the table and you can't get to them. It's like if you try to touch one, your parents are going to scream at you. It's like, come on, man. But right? And if you celebrate Christmas. But the thing is, right, XRP is sort of like that. Like, when's Christmas Day coming? And when it comes, happy days for XRP, right? So if you can find a way to get some on your books, these are relatively good levels to buy it at, because we can see what XRP can do, right? For the higher areas, you're talking about $1.90, almost $2 XRP. All right. Solana. Let's talk about Solana for a while. Now, Solana is one that is a bit concerning for me. Now, do I think this network and this crypto has a future? Definitely. But where they fit in that future, not exactly sure, okay? I didn't necessarily want to get too deep into Solana, right? We did buy a little bit. We sold it off, you know, and the reason why is because if I understand that your project isn't necessarily supporting the clients, the customers, the people who are using it in the best way possible, and there's hacks and, you know, people are finding issues with your blockchain, then that's going to translate into real life. And I'm thinking that that's part of what we're seeing with Solana right now, okay? Again, all negative, and you're not getting really aggressive pop type of action out of this discount zone, right? So even though we're consolidating in this area, we could definitely drop lower to a bargain zone, which could actually turn the price around, right? I mean, we're looking at scale in, scale out areas here somewhere around 46 to 25 bucks for Solana. If it were to fall there, I'm still thinking that it's a pretty good buy, right? Because maybe Solana was overvalued according to the way that the actual product works. And this is what we're seeing in the market. All right, let's talk about Polkadot. Polkadot, another one, trying to break its way out of this discount zone, right? But mostly downwards price action. So another network that I think has a good future, but whether or not it's worth 52 bucks, right, is a question based on its downwards price action. If everything else is moving more aggressively and able to jump from a discount zone to a low premium zone, that's really what you're judging. It's not so much whether or not they stay in the zones. Can they get here and go higher? Can they get here, go higher? Even if it's just to the top of the discount zone, that's a lot more promise than if it just continues downwards and just gives us a little bit of life every once in a while, okay? Major difference there, guys. Harmony One's another one that we look at from time to time, and we think Harmony One can definitely break out of this zone, right? It's shown us its willingness to do this multiple times. Now, not sure what the issue is right now. Maybe we can do some research, read some articles, things of that nature, right? Whenever you get into a zone of uncertainty about something, read about it, okay? That's the easiest way for you to kind of get back in queue with what's happening with these particular projects. But for Harmony One, right, I definitely like what they have going on. They seem to be doing a lot of different things. And so this is another one that could potentially pop, but right now you're sitting at this discount level. But you see how this aggressive movement shows me something? Right? It kind of shows me something, guys, with Harmony One. So at 14 cents, do we think that this is still a relatively good buy? Yes, it's in the discount zone. It can definitely get to low premium zone. All right, just needs that push. Phantom, another one that kind of broke deeper down into the discount zone. But as you guys can see, right, sort of accumulating here at these scale-in levels, you're right at the top of your discount zone. Not always the most advantageous play. But once you start to get to the bottom of your discounted zones, right, the plays seem to turn out a little bit better. So, you know, Phantom, another one that we think definitely has a future. You know, everything is sort of themed and, you know, branded with this particular crypto. How that's going to translate into, you know, development and features and things of that nature, we're seeing it. But right now, you know, people and developers are building on certain platforms and not so much on others. So all of these different layer ones that are coming up, you got to be aware that not all of them are going to survive, right, guys? Not all of them are going to survive. It's the ones that have the most utility that's usable today that are where the developers are going to go, because that's where they're going to make their money. All right. You got to think about this from that perspective as well. CRV, another one that we've watched. Okay. But this actually broke into a bargain zone. This broke down a lot harder than we thought it would. Right. But you can see our scaling zone was somewhat near this level. Right. So you were sat in the loss a little bit, but you're starting to see some gains today. If in fact, this is the area where you got in at. Very small gains, minute, if any gains at this point. But again, bargain and discount zone. You're going to have to sit in these plays for a while in order for these things to materialize for you. All right. Engine token, another one. Downwards price action, right? Trying to get some life. Showed us some life here, right? I think Engine can definitely pop out of this discount zone. And you can see here that the scaling level, along with the sitting right at the top of that bargain zone, is being respected there. Okay. So Engine, again, another good metaverse project that we're looking at. But again, metaverse, right? How well will these projects be doing by the end of the year? Okay. All of this stuff, NFTs, et cetera, et cetera. You can't necessarily get caught up with the fad, guys. You have to stick to the basics. Crypto's always going to be the basics. Never let anyone tell you, oh, that's old school. Be for real. Okay. Old school is how you got here in the first place, young buck. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Mana, another metaverse project. All right. Once again, right, discount to low premium. We're seeing the pop, right? Pow, Decentraland. It's showing me something. So if I had to make a choice between whether or not I'm investing between, you know, Decentraland and, you know, Engine or Sandbox, chances are I'll put the majority of my stack, if I had a whole stack to drop, majority of it would probably go to Mana right now. I just see a lot better price action happening with Mana right now. And with that price action, I'm seeing that it could definitely pop a lot better than these other two options per se. All right, so that's our rundown on the altcoins, guys. You know, we're definitely seeing some bullish movement in the market. We're definitely seeing some things that are giving us some happy days here. All right, if you were buying around the $35,000, $36,000 level, you're up right now. Okay, so if you weren't a fearful trader, if you said, let's go, let's pull this trigger, we're not worried about nothing, we going in, we're apes, whatever it may be, you're in a fairly good position right now. But be careful. If these rates start to increase very rapidly, you want to see how the market's going to react to that. All right. And it may take a few weeks for that to actually really show itself. I believe that we are going from a point of uncertainty to more certainty. And again, if the market is uncertain, then the market will do strange things. When it becomes certain, okay, and if we understand, okay, Powell's on his kick, we got to be ready for that. Things start to get priced in as they were, I think, previously, you know, before the first announcement. And, you know, you just want to be careful in this market right now. Do not put it on any super really large positions, because you could definitely get wrecked if some news comes out. All right. And news is going to swing the market over the course of the spring going into the summer. All right, guys. So hopefully this analysis has helped you out one way or the other. I think people will probably be very interested in that super scalping technique. So we'll talk about, you know, how we do things there. We may even put together a tutorial on it. Who knows, right? Go ahead, check out those other tutorials too, guys. We put a lot of work into that. We appreciate the folks who already checked it out. We've been getting some positive feedback on it. People are saying that they're learning from them, right? And that's really the ultimate judgment of what I need to know from you guys, right? Are you learning? Are you figuring things out based on what I'm showing you on this channel? If you are, let me know. If you have questions, let me know, okay? And let's build this thing together. Other than that, I think that's going to do it for today, guys. It's your boy Maestro. Salute to everybody. Be safe out here. Love all of y'all, man. Peace.